The transfer of power.
I, Joseph Robinette Biden Jr., do solemnly swear.
Our 46th president takes office and is already erasing the rules of the old administration.
Office of President of the United States.
The border wall project has been scrapped. The United States is back in the Paris Climate Agreement. Masks are required on federal property.
Much to repair, much to restore, much to heal, much to build, and much to gain.
All night long, Denver7 is bringing you 360 coverage. What will the change in the White House change about our lives?
Today, we celebrate the triumph not of a candidate, but of a cause, the cause of democracy. The people, the will of the people has been heard, and the will of the people has been heeded. We've learned again that democracy is precious, democracy is fragile. And at this hour, my friends, democracy has prevailed.
His first speech as president certainly may have been the most powerful of his career. Today, President Joe Biden called for unity, a return to truth, and the end of lying as a political tool.
I know speaking of unity can sound to some like a foolish fantasy these days. I know the forces that divide us are deep and they are real. But I also know they are not new. The dream of justice for all will be deferred no longer.
And President Biden's day is not finished. He will address the country along with Vice President Kamala Harris just before 7 o'clock our time tonight. He's already had a busy day. The inauguration schedule started with President Biden swearing in an inaugural address at about 10:30 our time.
12:30, the president and vice president were at Arlington National Cemetery to lay a wreath at the tomb of the unknown soldier. They were joined by former presidents Obama, Clinton, and George W. Bush.
And President Biden arrived at the White House just before 2 o'clock our time. And by 4, he swore in several of his day one presidential appointees and signed a sweeping list of executive orders wiping away many Trump administration policies.
And President Biden announced new federal leadership to deal with the COVID-19 pandemic. He also called on a mask mandate on federal grounds, extended the eviction moratorium through March, and extended the student loan pause through September.
Mr. Biden also rejoined the Paris Climate Agreement and the World Health Organization. He ended the Keystone Pipeline project and ended oil and gas development on national land. He stopped border wall construction, and he called on Congress to create a path to citizenship for dreamers. It's a lot to get done on your first day on the job.
And tonight, on a day that is all about change, Denver7 brings you 360 perspectives on how these changes will affect various groups. You're going to hear from now former President Trump, the Republicans who must continue on now as the minority party, the passionate community activists who demonstrated at the Colorado Capitol, the minority groups cheering as one of their own becomes vice president, and the Democrats eager to move forward with an ambitious agenda.
So we begin tonight with Denver7's Lance Hernandez, who spent the day in the thick of protests at our state capitol. Good evening, Lance.
And Shannon, that crowd fluctuated in size from just a handful this morning to about 100 or so this afternoon. There were some verbal clashes between Trump supporters and Trump opponents, and not all of the Trump opponents were Biden supporters, and not everyone was there to make a political statement. Some people just showed up to celebrate.
Keith Hodson popped open some bubbly today. He's a Biden supporter.
I was here with like 3 champagne bottles when he won the election, so figure one would be good enough for today.
Robin Burgess and her family also in a celebratory mood.
Our initial plan was to go to Washington, D.C. and be part of the actual inauguration.
The pandemic put the kibosh on those plans, so they made do with Colorado's capital. Burgess says Kamala Harris being elected VP is a big deal for her kids.
Especially my daughter. She really looks up to her, and we made the shirt because her VP looks just like her now.
Not everyone at the Capitol supports the new administration.
I think Trump won the election. I think that the American people deserve their rightful king of America in a certain regard.
Drew McDaniel is part of Patriot Q. He thinks the opposition gave us the virus to make Trump look bad, but says he doesn't hate President Biden. He says he was here out of love for America. This group of protesters, which includes anti-fascists and communists, set an American flag on fire. They want change in the American system. Rick Bryant is a Biden supporter. His message to Trump supporters?
He lost.
and he needs to just get over it. America, we gotta, move forward.
And finally, Captain America said today is a reminder that democracy is still alive in the U.S. He says he normally tries to walk a fine line, putting his heart before a red badge or blue badge.
January 6th changed that a little bit, I think, because it made it not about sides. It made it about being on the side of democracy.
I checked with Denver PD to find out if there had been any issues at all today. They said they made 2 arrests early this morning at Cheeseman Park for weapons violations. Lance Hernandez, Denver 7.
We're all peaceful. Thank you, Lance. And Colorado Governor Jared Polis congratulated the new president in a joint statement with Lieutenant Governor Diane Primavera. And they write, "We look forward to working with the Biden-Harris administration, tackling the unique challenges of the COVID-19 pandemic, including increasing the supply and distribution of the life-saving vaccine should be a top priority."
And the history of the moment certainly not lost on Denver Mayor Michael Hancock, who said there are many firsts achieved by Kamala Harris in becoming our next vice president. Her journey to this position has been an inspiration, he says, to so many.
Yes, as you are well aware, Harris is the first woman to serve as vice president. She's also the first person of color. Her parents are of Black and South Asian descent.
Denver 7's Jacqueline Allen continues our 360 coverage from the Capitol tonight with more perspective on Harris's historic achievement. Jacqueline.
Well, let's put this in perspective. What is going on right here? These protesters at the Capitol, they're passionate, but they're probably not going to make history. But what happened at our nation's Capitol today will. Now, we found that people right here in Colorado were profoundly impacted watching Kamala Harris sworn in as vice president today. As part of our commitment to bringing you a 360 look at different perspectives, here is why, regardless of political leanings, today matters to so many who saw themselves in our new VP.
I think that what we are seeing today is that women, even those who are mothers, should all be viewed as having the potential of great leadership.
To break what we have always proverbially called the bamboo ceiling and the glass ceiling for so many of us who are underrepresented.
A woman become vice president of the United States of America. It's beautiful.
An emotional day for so many people. And it reminds me of the famous Ruth Bader Ginsburg quote, "Women belong in all places where decisions are being made." And here we are, reporting live in Denver. Jacqueline Allen, Denver 7.
True. Thank you, Jacqueline. And by and large, Colorado's Republicans share one perspective. Biden's policies are bad for business. Congressman Ken Buck, the former leader of the Colorado GOP, tweeted, "Instead of taking steps to start moving America forward, Biden's executive orders will hurt millions of people and weaken our nation." Now, Buck, Congressman Scott Tipton, and Congresswoman Lauren Boebert all skipped Biden's inauguration ceremony. I should say Doug Lamborn, excuse me. Boebert tweeted this photo from President Trump's farewell speech, writing, "It's now on us to carry the movement forward. This is bigger than one man. The America First movement is only beginning."
Well, the president said farewell to Washington and a small group of supporters on the runway at Joint Base Andrews this morning, and he said it's been an honor.
I wish the new administration great luck and great success. I think they'll have great success. They have the foundation to do something really spectacular. I couldn't have done it without you. So just a goodbye. We love you. We will be back in some form.
Trump's second impeachment trial could begin next week. Speaker of the House Nancy Pelosi is expected to send a single article of impeachment inciting an insurrection to the Senate later this week. A conviction could prevent Trump from ever holding office again. 17 Republicans and all Democrats would have to vote to convict. And many have called, though, on Democrats to drop the impeachment proceedings in the name of unity.
So we've laid out several perspectives for you. So let's hear from you. Email 360@thedenverchannel.com.
Been a mild one, 50s and 60s on the plains today. Coming up, I'll let you know when we get our next chance for snow.
Plus, the local high schoolers playing a part in the inauguration celebration.
And hear the poignant words from the U.S. Youth Poet Laureate, turning her into an immediate star.
Being American is more than a pride we inherit. It's the past we step into and how we repair it.
Oh yeah, she can sing. Lady Gaga was just one of the high-profile names performing during President Joe Biden's inauguration today. Garth Brooks captivated the crowd with a performance of Amazing Grace.
He also broke some social distancing rule. He ran around and hugged every former president and first lady who was there on the stage. Brooks said in an interview he just hopes Biden will bring this country together. But the showstopper, I got to say, was this young lady, this young woman, I should say, Amanda Gorman. She is the United States Youth Poet Laureate. She caught everyone's attention during the inauguration.
Let the globe, if nothing else, say this is true. That even as we grieved, we grew. That even as we hurt, we hoped. That even as we tired, we tried. That we'll forever be tied together, victorious. Not because we will never again know defeat, but because we will never again sow division.
Just captivating. Gorman's Twitter following, by the way, is now 10 times larger than it was this morning, and it's still growing. The 22-year-old finished this poem she read today on January 6th, inspired by the Capitol riots.
Wow, she was amazing. For many, it's a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity. Up next, meet the Colorado band playing in today's inauguration ceremony.
Plus, Mike's back with an early look at the weekend forecast.